Is this compact Optisolex SolarBag 400 with 440 watts of solar capability a good silent alternative to my generator in a power outage? Well, today I'm going to put that to the test. And I'm going to find out how well these work with a few different power stations, but most importantly, how these work with my transfer switch and my EcoFlow that I will be using to power my well pump in any sort of power outage. Getting through a blackout that lasts just a few hours or possibly even overnight is relatively easy to get through. There's not a whole lot you need. But the longer things go on, the more complex and the more dangerous that situation becomes. Your food starts to spoil. At night, there's no light. And here at my house, without electricity, we don't have a well pump, which means no water. That's why I installed a transfer switch here at the home, and I have an EcoFlow Delta Pro to run some of these important electronics like the well pump, the refrigerator, and some of the lights in the house. And I also have a Predator generator inverter to top that off. But generators are noisy and they can be dangerous in long-term situations like these. The noise from a generator can alert your neighbors and possibly even thieves that you have the generator itself. Plus, what are you using this generator for? What other valuables do you have? And that's why I was really interested when OptiSolex got in touch with me about reviewing this Optisolex SolarBag 400, which is two 220 watt solar panels hooked together for a total of 440 watts. And 400 watts is perfect for my energy needs. And I'll go through that more later on when I test this out and talk about my transfer switch. But this is a perfect size. Not only is it the perfect size as far as wattage goes, but these are more compact than your typical rigid solar panels and even have less of a footprint than some of the lower wattage portable solar panels do. I also have 400 watts of solar coming into my house, but that's all the way on the other side of the house. And I would have to run a 150 foot cord, 8-gauge wire, all the way to my transfer switch. And that honestly would cost just about as much as this unit right here would cost. So this one is nice and portable, which I really like. I can tuck this away, and when the situation arises, I can pull this out and set it up really easily. Now, before we get out and do some of the testing, I want to go over what is included with this, what you'll get straight out of the box. It comes packaged really well. It's a blanket style or suitcase style solar panel setup, so it folds out fairly large, and this is actually two solar panels zipped up into one unit right here, which is kind of nice because it offers a little bit of flexibility. In these sleeves right here, you can see you've got the MC4 connectors that will hook up to your solar, and there's all sorts of adapters depending on your power station, and I've tested this on 3 of them today. You've got these shoulder straps right here, which would come in handy if you got kids and you want to put them to work. You can put this on them like a backpack. I'm not sure I will ever use these, but they are sort of nice to have if you do want to carry this, whether you're talking about on your shoulder or as a backpack. Kind of cool. It comes with these 4 carabiners right here, which I used to set up at a sort of an angle with my wood pile, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But I used these 4 right here to set that up to get a better angle for the sun. And then you've also got the instruction manual, what to do, how to use this, how to connect everything, where to set these up. And we're going to try this method right here as well as on my wood pile. But you've got that right there. And then you've got the guide right here, which just gives you some safety instructions and also goes through how you would want sort of the same type of thing right there. It shows you how to set this up in series or in parallel. Series is the way that this comes right here. And if you were setting it up in parallel, you'd need the Y branch or the Y connectors right there. But all, pretty simple, pretty basic to set up. You've got all the specs on the bag right here itself as far as what the output is, the volts, the watts, and the current, and all that stuff. So that's very nice right there. all of these solar panels and all these power stations accept different sorts of volts and wattages. So this is a nice, good reference right there. And then on the other side of this bag, you've got the other solar panel connector. So this is the second one, and this is just the cord in here. With both of these, you do have the option. You've got two USB-A's and a USB-C. So you've got 6 options for charging some of those smaller electronics. So if you're generating with one of these solar panels 200 and some watts, even 150 watts, you can charge just about anything. You can plug in 3 small electronic devices, a laptop, a phone, a tablet, and charge those right here without even needing a power station. So that's kind of nice. And as far as the quality of this, it's a nylon case and it's pretty sturdy. The zippers I like because they have the covers on them, so it's not waterproof, but it is really water resistant. So you may not want to keep it out in the rain, but if it is out in the rain, anything that's in this pocket right here is going to be fine. And then you've got the buckles and the straps that keep this held together. And they also have a lock on here, so you can't accidentally, these won't accidentally pop off, which is kind of nice. But these come off, the straps are put on really well. And then you can unfold this unit, which we don't have a whole lot of room in here, but you can unfold this entire unit, and you can see that it's got the zipper going right down the middle here all the way. So you can take off these 2 solar panels and separate them. So these solar panels are very portable, very lightweight, and that's sort of what drew me to these, because if you are in an evacuation type situation, that is going to be something really important to you. And with what I am using them for with my transfer switch, it's something I just want to be able to put these away, put them in the bedroom, store them away, and if I need them, I know exactly where they are. And it's not going to take up a whole lot of room. These solar panels are N-type panels, which means they are more efficient, they are more durable, and they are better in low light conditions, say overcast days. These are going to generate a little bit more energy than the normal, your average everyday solar panels would. Now, the downside of N-side panels is they are more expensive and they are less common than the other types of solar panels. But it's pretty cool that these are those N-type solar panels. So with that, let's go ahead and get these outside. We'll test them, see how well they do, and then I will show you how I plan on using these with the transfer switch, and we'll see is this going to be able to generate enough electricity for what I might need in the event that it is some sort of extended grid down type situation. All right, so I've got this hooked up here now on my wood piles. And the sun is almost, by the time it gets to middle of the day, this is going to be set up perfectly. And right now I just have one of these set up because I am going to plug in my Jackery, and 2 of these solar panels is too much for a Jackery 1000. So we are going to use this little adapter that I have right here, and we are going to set up my Jackery. All right, so now we have this Jackery 1000, and you can see these 2 DC ports can only support 200 watts of solar power apiece. So I could get 2 of these connectors right here and hook both of these up, but right now only this one is plugged in right here. And when we get the EcoFlow out here, we'll hook them both up together, and then we will hook this up. But let's go ahead and throw this on. And the Jackery right now, we are getting 148, 149 watts out of this unit, which is pretty decent for where the sun is and how these are set up. In a couple of hours, my bet these will be close to 180 or so. It's not going to be perfect because of the angles and everything, but My bet is about in a couple hours we would get 180 or so out of these. So if you put those together, that's about 360, 370 watts, but pretty good. So we will see. What I'm gonna do now is plug in both of these solar panels together, and then we will see what the output is on my A-free power station, and then we'll also hook it up to the EcoFlow, but let's try it with the A-free. So as you can see, we've got both of these solar panels zipped together, really nice zipper, and then we've got them hooked together, one positive to one negative, and then it comes out one negative to one positive, all the way to this right here, which we will plug into the power station. And to do this, I need an XT60 to XT90 adapter that we can put on the end right here to make this connect to the A-free. And as you can see here, we're getting 273 volt or watts out of this unit the way it's hooked up right here. So what we're going to do is wait and see when we get optimal wattage. All right, something that's interesting to me with this A-free right here, we're not quite at peak conditions, but you can see, maybe you can see, that we're getting about 360 watts from these solar panels right now, and we'll check this when we are at peak conditions. But when I plug this into the A-free, so we were getting 361 watts out of that. You can see we're about 50 watts less. The display here anyway says that we're about 50 watts less on this A-free right here with the exact same setup and exact same time. I'll switch it back to the EcoFlow here and you'll see it's going crazy a little bit right now. I'm trying to figure it out, but 350, 360 right now. So we'll test this in a bit, but that's just interesting to me that either the display is wrong or the A-free, I don't know, with the solar panels, the voltage and current and all that stuff, but the A-free is not accepting as much as the EcoFlow here. And let's go ahead and do a test on the Jackery as well while we're out here. I've got that adapter. So we'll use this adapter right here. It's saying we're getting about 322 compared to the 360 on the EcoFlow. So really depends on the power station, I suppose, but it's working pretty well. With the EcoFlow, okay with the Jackery, and then the A-free seems a little bit low with these solar panels right here. All right, so we're gonna call this close this test out, and we are at about 380 watts coming in from these solar panels. Now, there are a lot of things that affect the efficiency of solar panels. The time of year, you can see these ones aren't set up exactly flat, and the angle to the sun isn't exactly perfect, so that's going to affect it. The time of year, the temperature outside, a lot of things play into how efficient these panels are going to be. So 380 watts out of these 440 watt panels is pretty good considering all of the variables that you have with these. And like I said, the EcoFlows tend to agree more with these solar panels, but they will work in like the A-free, the Jackery, the Blue Eddy, the EcoFlows. Just make sure that you are paying attention. The smaller the power station, you may only need, or you may only be able to use one of these 200 watt solar panels. Or if you have two power stations, smaller power stations, say two of the Jackeries, you could split these two panels up and plug a Jackery into both of these panels and charge both power stations at the same time, which is kind of neat. But I want to take this apart, and I do want to hook it to my transfer switch now and show you how I've got my EcoFlow right there with the transfer switch and these solar panels would allow me to run this EcoFlow, recharge it, and do it silently in a situation where I may not want to have that generator running. All right, so before I show you how I've got this all set up, I wanted to briefly explain what a transfer switch is for those of you that don't know. And what I did was had this sub panel installed. This is the main fuse box. And this sub panel has all the fuses that I might need if the grid was down. I've got my well pump, which is my main one. I've got my kitchen, which is the refrigerator. I've got my furnace, which is, I've got a gas furnace. So this is just the fan, basically. Got my master bedroom, the garage, and a few different things that I would want to be able to have power to in an emergency or disaster. Now, the transfer switch portion of this is this right here, and right now it's on. If I were to turn this off, this is all controlled by the main incoming power, right? So if the main power was out, I've got this interlock, meaning I have to turn off the main power first, then I can push this up, and then I can turn on my generator. And now everything in this fuse box is getting powered by this EcoFlow right here. And when the main power comes back on eventually, everything else in the house will power up, but I'm not affecting that. I'm not backfeeding that because I have that off. So everything will work, and then I can come back out here and I can turn this back off. I've also got instructions down here just in case other people are here and I'm not, so they can use it. So this is something that's really nice in case of a blackout. And I also have my other 400 watt panel, so I won't use a whole lot of this. I figure I will use between 1 and 2 kilowatts overnight during a blackout because I don't have to use very much and I've got other power stations to do that. So what I want is to have this topped off going into nighttime, going into the dark, and these solar panels would do perfectly with that. As you can see, I've got these plugged in back here, and I've got this is running right now, but you can't really see, but it's bringing in about 300 watts. And right now it's on the top of my truck. So it's not positioned perfectly by any means, but it's pretty low profile and incognito. Just my truck is parked in front of the garage. This can all stay in the garage. It's nice and silent, and you can't really tell just driving by that I've got a bunch of solar panels on the hood of my truck. Or I could have them out by the wood pile like I showed before, but I don't have quite enough length. I would have to take this and put it down at the end of the garage and use this long 25-foot cord I have right here, and then I could reach out there. But having a solar option is great. I can charge this with my Predator generator, and I can charge this at about 1,600 watts. But that is fuel storage that I'm going to need, and that is 45 minutes to an hour of loud noise where I'm letting the whole neighborhood know I've got a generator, and they're curious, one, about the generator, and two, what am I trying to power with that generator? So having something silent like this, completely incognito, meaning I can power the stuff in my house during the daytime. My food's not going to get warm in the refrigerator. My well pump, I can keep that on for an hour or so a day, fill up some of my water containers. I've got about 100 gallons of water containers that I can store water in, that I do have water stored in. And then I can turn the well pump back off. I can turn the furnace fan off so that doesn't accidentally kick on because I've got my wood burning stove. If I run out of wood, it's a good option to have this right here. Or if I get more power, more stored energy, I can run that. But these solar panels are, these 400 watts of solar panels for what my situation is, are absolutely perfect for generating that power, that 1 to 2, possibly even 3 kilowatts of energy per day. If we're looking at 300 watts an hour for 10 hours a day, an average of 300 watts. It'll get above that, it'll go below that, but I think about an average of 300 watts is what we're looking at with these, and about 10 hours of sunlight is what I would get. So 3 kilowatts of energy is what I could put into this going into the nighttime, have this at 100% at night, and then be able to recharge everything back during the day. And then for the time being, when I don't need this, I can put this inside in the bedroom, in the closet, along with those solar panels and along with this cord. And if something happens, bring all of those out, nice, easy, and convenient, and set everything up. or if there is a situation where we need to evacuate or bug out. I can grab all of these relatively easy. I need 2 people for this, but I can grab these relatively easy, stick them in the back of the truck, and we are off and going, and I've got plenty of energy and whatever I would need for that trip. All right, so all in all, I'm pretty impressed with these solar panels right here. They are high quality solar panels that can be stored away, put away neatly and easily taken out. This is a 400 watt unit, which is an excellent size, I think, as far as wattage goes for preparedness. And you can even combine 1 or 2 or 3 of these to get 4, 8, or 1200 watts, depending on what your needs are. So really nice. Even just one of these, you can split this in half. So you have 2 220 watt solar panels, or keep it combined the way it is, or even hook them up in series or in parallel. So a lot of different options. And the N-type technology means these are really durable, really efficient, and really good in low light or overcast situations. So if you don't have a whole lot of sun, these are still going to work better than some of your older or more rigid solar panels. So I really do like these, and I plan on using these quite a bit. And like all my review videos, if anything goes wrong or something happens, if anything goes wrong or anything goes good, I'm going to let you know in future videos. But I will leave all the links and everything below. If you have any questions, make sure and leave a comment below. I'll answer those questions, or you can get a hold of the folks over at OptiSolex and ask any questions you have about this OptiSolex 400 watt, 440 watt solar bag right here. With that, I am done today. Take care and prepare, everyone. We will talk to you all later.